What's up guys, welcome back to the Decent Garage. In today's video, I'm going to be answering a bunch of your guys' questions. You guys may have seen that I put a poll on Facebook, on Instagram, and on my community tab on YouTube asking what questions do you guys have. And I got a ton of responses. So with that, I'm going to answer 10 of those questions today. If I don't answer your question today, don't worry, I'm going to have to do a couple of these videos to answer all the questions. Also, if you don't hear your question answered today, some of the questions I really liked and I felt like they may be worthy of a full video on those. So I will be doing full videos of some of your questions. Before we get started, make sure to check out decentgarage.com. I've been wearing my hoodie a ton lately because it's getting cold here in Utah. I love it. I'm going to order a couple more for myself, but check out the website. I've also been uploading a couple different articles on there that I've written that'll probably be pretty informational and helpful for some of you guys. So check that out as well. Thanks for your support. Let's get to answering your questions. So to answer that question, first we have to talk about what trucks I have. I have the OG Crew Cab with a VE pump and I have Prospector Bob with a P pump. So actually here in the next couple weeks, I am going to start the build process on the OG Crew Cab and we're going to build a high horsepower VE pump truck with that. So the goal is going to be at least 500 horsepower on a VE pump. I'm going to dyno it before and we're going to dyno it after so we can see what the numbers look like. I'm going to do installation videos of everything I install on it so you guys can see what I've done to get a VE pump to that horsepower. Now, if we're going to go higher than 600 horsepower, so it's got to be on a P pump. And I haven't really thought that far ahead with Prospector Bob. I do plan on doing more power upgrades to Prospector Bob, but I want to focus on doing the VE pump build first, and then when we get that done, we can start into a P pump build. But yes, we do plan on building some higher horsepower stuff. This is a great question, and the answer to the question is yes, eventually I want to have a big shop and have a little more property to be doing some of these projects on. Right now in Utah though, and really across the country, the housing market and land sales are just outrageous. Not to mention inflation and the price of building materials and the shortage of a lot of materials. If you watch Stradman, you know his house is becoming much more expensive than it was when he first started building it. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, make do with what I have for now, but in the future I do plan on building a much bigger shop. One of the YouTubers that has always inspired me and really inspired me to start this channel was Greg A. And for so many years he worked out of his garage at his house, then he found a shop that he just kind of rented for a while, and now he's got 2 big shops on his property. So I see myself kind of following those footsteps, but I'm going to be patient with the process and know that it'll come with time. So my first truck I bought in 2009, and it was actually a Cummins truck as well. In 2009, I bought a 98 12 valve extended cab 4-door 5-speed short bed 4-wheel drive truck. So to me it was the holy grail. Some people say the holy grail has to be a long bed, but I like the short bed better. I loved this truck. I bought it in 2009 and then I started grad school in 2011 and I had to sell it to pay for a semester of school. But a few weeks ago, I was looking through my phone and I saw a contact I didn't recognize, and I finally realized who it was. It was the guy that I sold the truck to 10 years ago. So I actually texted him, asked him if he still has the truck, and he does. He still lives in Utah. He's been doing some stuff to it, but I might try and get together with him and film a video on it so you guys can see the truck. It was nothing special. It was fairly stock, but I just loved it. I regret ever having to sell it, but after I sold that, that's when I bought my first gen, so I wouldn't be into first gens if I still had that second gen, so you guys can thank me for selling that. So I decided to start a YouTube channel really for 2 reasons, and I mentioned before that I've been inspired by a lot of YouTubers, Greg A especially, V-Belt and Son. A bunch of the diesel truck guys have really inspired me, and I love working on my trucks, and I figured I want to share some of my knowledge. There's not really anyone out there doing kind of the niche of just first gen stuff, and I have the means to do it, I have the trucks to do it, and so I might as well do it. Now I'm going to be honest with you about the second reason of starting the channel. The other reason is because I love working with my trucks, I love doing stuff to them, and I want to be able to afford to be building these trucks and to be making them better and better. And I knew I needed to find some way to have an income to support that, some revenue stream that I can use just for building trucks and doing projects like this. Granted, the money I'm making off of YouTube and things like that is not as glamorous as some may think it is. It's a lot of work to get a little bit, but in the end, it's a little bit of money that I can throw back in the trucks and help support the projects, and it'll just keep growing, which I really like, and I really look forward to the future as the channel grows, that we can keep building bigger and better stuff. So that's the reason I started the channel. Despite what some of you may think, my career is not in diesel mechanics or mechanicking at all. I'm actually a doctor of physical therapy, or a physical therapist as you may know us. I've been practicing for about 8 years. Everything I do mechanically, I'm self-taught. I learned it on my own, and I do it as a hobby. I don't do any contract work or do anything for money. I've been practicing for about 9 years now in physical therapy. Right now, though, I don't practice a ton. I'm actually an assistant professor in a physical therapy program here in Utah, so I teach quite a bit, which is really nice. Teaching is kind of my passion. As you can tell from my videos, I like to put a lot of effort into being very organized and being very thorough about how I teach you guys to do stuff. So that's what I do. It's not the most lucrative profession. It came with a lot of debt to get through grad school, so it has its ups and downs, but all in all, I'm very happy with my choice of profession. I really enjoy it, and I love that it's allowed me to make these videos for you guys. So after I sold my second gen when I was in grad school, about a year later, I got assigned to do a clinical placement across the country. Now, I had a friend in grad school, and we sat by each other, we talked a lot. And when we both got assigned to the same clinic across the country, I started pricing out U-Hauls and realized it was going to be about $2,500 each way to move my family out there. So I threw out this idea to my buddy. I said, hey, we should just buy a couple first gens and pull trailers out there and move our family. The first gen will pay for itself by, not having to pay for a U-Haul, and we'll have a sweet truck in the end. I didn't know this at the time, but his dad had about 5 or 6 first gens from a construction company he worked for. So there's a video, probably one of my oldest videos on the channel, I think, of us starting his truck that we found out in the field. We threw an axle under it and we got it running. And I started looking for a first gen, and I luckily found a sweet first gen for $2,900, 120,000 miles on it, extended cab, 4-wheel drive, no rust. I found it local to me. I was able to pick that up, towed all my stuff out to Mississippi, towed everything back. Then I towed everything up to Alaska, towed everything back. This truck has more than paid itself off. But that's where my passion for first gens came from. I've honestly never really considered building a gasser truck. I mentioned before, I'm kind of self-taught, and so I learned a lot about Cummins diesels, but I don't know a ton about gas engines. I've been trying to learn more with rebuilding dirt bikes and working on the Jeep, and now Betty White's a gas engine, but I'm just not as comfortable doing performance modifications to gas engines. So at some point I may kind of learn more and get better at that, but for now I'm going to focus on diesel trucks. It's my passion. It's what I love. You just can't beat the miles per gallon. You can't beat the torque of a diesel. You can't beat the reliability of it. So that's what I'm going to stick to right now. I just have a thing for crew cab trucks in general. When I lived in Alaska, I actually owned a 78 Highboy crew cab Ford that a patient of mine gave me because he had it sitting out on his property. I had plans to do a Fummins with that, but I moved and I didn't have the means to bring it down with me. So I basically gave that away. I'd love to do a crew cab Highboy Ford. I'd love to do an OBS Ford Fummins. After watching Red Eye Cafe Garage and his Chevy Cummins that he built, that is beautiful, it's functional. I would love to build something like that as well. I do love crew cabs though, as you can tell. So a lot of people have been asking, what are the plans for Betty White? So with my decision to do a build on the OG crew cab, do a higher horsepower build, and then probably do a build on Prospector Bob, I came to the realization I'm not going to have the time, the energy, or the money to put into Betty White. So as of last week, I have someone who's verbally committed to buying Betty White. That's what I'm going to say about that, but Betty White is spoken for at this point, and I'm just looking forward to getting more space in the driveway, getting a little cash liquidated out of that so I can put it into the other trucks. I really enjoyed that last truck meet in Logan. Now, I'm going to preface the answer to this question by saying I didn't organize that. I didn't set it up. A bunch of guys up in Logan messaged me and said they were planning to do one, and they were wondering if there was a time that would work that I could come as well. And so we kind of collaborated together, and I basically just showed up. I don't have the time or the energy to organize stuff like that. But I would like to make them a bigger thing. I would like to make it more of a regional event, maybe a Mountain West 12 valve meet or something like that. I haven't planned any for now, but I do want to make the Utah meet regular and have it be more of a regional meet that tons of 12 valve guys can show up to, and we can swap parts, see everyone's trucks, get ideas. All right, guys, there you have it. There's 10 questions I've answered for you. I'm thinking I'm going to do a video like this every couple weeks because I think a lot of you guys have a lot more questions. So be on the lookout on Facebook, Instagram, and my YouTube community page for when I ask for some different questions, and I'll get those answered. Thanks for your support. Make sure to check out decentgarage.com, and we'll see you guys in the next video.